Nobody can do it on an island. Michael Jordan needed Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen. Superstars need help. It's why it's important to find your kingmaker, your coach, somebody that's got your best interests at heart, even if it benefits them too. I start with this today. There have been 3 evolutions of quarterback in my life. This is my opinion, but it's the way I feel. The first evolution, I watched football back starting in the early 70s. And then Dan Marino and John Elway happened in 1983. For the first time ever, I wanted to watch the draft. They were going to be the best quarterbacks in the league maybe a year after they entered it. They were big and made throws nobody else could. For years and years after that, we saw tall, short, runners, statuesque quarterbacks. But the first evolution was Marino and Elway. They were just different. The second evolution, in my opinion, was Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in their prime 15 to 17 years ago. They made the game intellectual. We started talking about things like pre-snap dominance. There are now 2 ways to play, pre-snap and post-snap. We never talked about that in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They made gunslingers like Favre look unsophisticated and too loose and not smart enough. They made the game intellectual, manipulating defenses. You couldn't blitz or show your hand against them. They would burn you. People stopped blitzing both. The third evolution of quarterback, my friends, was last night. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Absurd, all-time A+++ arm talents. Big and mobile and coachable and daring, and 13 seconds off to go in the game is more than enough. We never talked about arm angles back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or with Brady and Manning. Arm angles wasn't a term, really, was it? Now it's discussed by the announcers multiple times. And when you look at these great quarterbacks, in all these 3 quarterback evolutions, who won more Super Bowls? It was Elway over Marino, Brady over Manning, and right now Mahomes over Josh Allen. Why? It's not like Tony Dungy, Don Shula, Sean McDermott can't coach, but they're not the perfect fits, in my opinion. Mike Shanahan gave John Elway that power running game that he always lacked. He won Super Bowls. Belichick gave Brady structure. It's what Tom lives for. His smoothies, his everything, his ice cream, his enjoyment, his vacations. It's all about structure, and Belichick has created the world's best football structure. And then there's Andy Reid, the great American football teacher of his generation. He is perfect for Mahomes. You know what they said about Patrick coming out of college? Mechanics could get sloppy, rough edges. You had to put up some guardrails. There is nobody in America better at that than Andy Reid. Never suffocates Mahomes, but is hard on him. Has to occasionally bark and clean up his messes. That's what you do with a great artist. You're there to elevate him and sometimes pick up the mess. And Mahomes goes into mini slumps, but he's incredibly coachable, and he understands the value of trust. There's a quarterback in Green Bay that never seems to. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are simply different. This is not a knock at Josh Allen and McDermott, but it's just a perfect fit. The other one's a really good fit. Even Michael Jordan needed a kingmaker. Andy Reid after on one of the greatest football games of all time, and I'm almost done saying that because I swear I said it about the Raiders and the Chargers 3 weeks ago. 2 great quarterbacks. One's already a champ. He'll be favored again regardless of who he plays. And the other one, he'll get his. Just not now. Let's talk Rams and Brady. The Rams were the better team. How do I know that? Because they fumbled 4 times. Their Pro Bowl kicker came up short on a makeable field goal, and they won. And they won. In fact, in the history of the National Football League, the history, all the games, nobody's ever lost 4 fumbles, lost a 20-point lead, and won, except the Rams yesterday. They had more focus. They had a better game plan. They had more juice. And there was a version of that game, if not for that fumble by Cam Akers, that may have well ended up 35 or 42-3. They were the better team. What happened? Well, Tampa last year got healthy, and Tom Brady, who's in his mid-40s, needs all the help he can get, and Tampa's offense wasn't healthy. Worse. Jensen, the center, banged up. Ronald Jones not around. Chris Godwin, AB. Tom's not at the point that he can carry a banged-up unit, and the Rams got healthier. But the takeaway I have from the Rams this year and now is it is an organization that coaches and trades and drafts without fear. Matt Stafford, swing big, home run. OBJ, thought he was washed, been great. Von Miller, what are they doing? Fantastic. They take big swings. And the difference between Matt Stafford and Jared Goff was on display. With Goff, too often, everything had to be perfect. Yesterday, the boat was capsizing. Cam Akers kept fumbling. Cooper Kupp never fumbles. He did. They hiked it over his head. This puppy was a wash in nonsense, and Stafford was money. And there was a classic moment that really spoke to who the Rams are. They're tied at 27, and things are imploding, and they get the ball back with 42 seconds left. Let's take a knee. Let's go to overtime. Let's play it safe. Nope. In fact, Stafford got sacked on the first play, so now there's 35 seconds left with no timeouts. And what does Stafford do? Down the field. Win the moment. Win the game. Kupp for 20. Kupp for 44. A lot of teams imploding out of timeouts, just had a sack, would say, knee, overtime, this is a mess. They didn't. Big swings, over the top, on the road, against Brady, Matt Stafford, no fear. Von Miller, OBJ acquisitions, no fear. It's what the Rams are about. If you look at what has happened in this game today, you can coach it perfectly. Things happen. That game was potentially a mess. And Stafford, Cam Akers fumbles. Cooper Kupp fumbles. The center hikes it over his head. You get sacked with 40-something seconds left. Full speed ahead, play without fear, let's go for it at the teeth of their defense. Here comes a zero blitz on the road, and we don't care. And I love that about the Rams. Rams, super aggressive late, win. Kansas City, little left, go for it, won. We say this all the time. Aggressive is winning. Hey, you want to keep running it back with Ryan Tannehill, knock yourself out, Tennessee. Knock yourself out with that stuff. You want to try to convince me you know who in Cleveland's the guy that'll lead you to the promised land? You knock yourself out. But the Rams just go big. Trades, acquisitions, quarterbacks. They got to the Super Bowl with Goff. They're like, not good enough. Upgrade. Let's go. And here they are. SoFi, so good as the playoffs continue. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.